Who is that? He's unloading here?
Dad, everyone's watching.
Keep the letter close.
Excuse me! Stop right there!
This is about to get ugly. Stay beside the truck.
Are we allowed to stay?
This is our road.
She keeps looking at us. Is he the contractor? I don't think so.
One box at a time.
You don't belong here.
This is my property.
This is Maple Ridge.
Dad, she said
Don't get involved.
Leave before I call the board. Then call them.
Everyone stay back! He is not authorized!
Quiet.
That poor inside. You must leave immediately.
Show me the back.
You think paper changes where you belong?
Paper is exactly what changes authority.
Mom wrote this for the house.
That has nothing to do with rules.
Then read the deed. I don't need to.
Is that even HOA land?
Don't say anything. The line isn't there.
Standards do not erase deeds.
Why won't they read it?
Someone should call county.
I said you must leave!
Wait, county's here.
Dad?
Stay with me.
Who called them? Why do they know his name?
Sir, are you the property owner? Yes.
The woman in the pearl-white blazer stood in the middle of the gravel road and pointed at the black man unloading boxes from his truck. "You don't belong here," she said, loud enough for every porch to hear. "This is Maple Ridge. Leave before I call the board." But why was his deed stamped with a boundary line she had never bothered to read? Why did the quiet little girl beside him clutch a folded letter like it could protect their whole future? And why did a county vehicle arrive just as the HOA president started screaming his name? What happened next made the entire neighborhood go silent that afternoon. Dust rolled over the open tailgate and settled across the box marked Maya. Books. Marcus Reed wiped one hand on his work pants and lifted it before his daughter could. "I've got this one." Maya hugged the folded letter to her shirt. "She said we have to leave now." "I heard her." She said it like the house could hear. Across the gravel road, Linda Merrick stood with her phone raised, pearl-white blazer bright against brown grass. Trevor Pike hovered behind her with a clipboard he had not opened. Porch doors had cracked along Maple Ridge. A sprinkler clicked before Marcus's tires. Linda stepped closer. "Sir, I am giving you one final opportunity to remove this vehicle from our entrance." Marcus set the books on the porch. "This is not your entrance. It feeds into Maple Ridge. It touches Maple Ridge. To the county, it matters." He nodded toward the survey stake. Maya's fingers tightened on the letter until the paper creased. Linda turned toward the houses. "Everyone, stay back. We have an unauthorized move-in on an HOA-controlled road." Marcus breathed in cut grass, cardboard, and damp porch wood. "Maya, take the kitchen box inside." "I don't want to go in." "Doors open. Stay where I can see you." She lifted the smaller box, but dust from the books left gray marks on her sleeve. She rubbed once, then stopped. Trevor cleared his throat. "Mr. Reed, if you cooperate, this doesn't have to become formal." "Formal is fine." Linda laughed once. "You do not want formal. I prefer it." A silver sedan rolled from the main gate. Brent Ashford got out, buttoning his jacket. "Linda, what are we doing?" "Stopping a violation before it becomes precedent." Brent glanced at Marcus. "Are you the contractor?" "No." "Owner's representative?" Marcus removed a folded county map. "Owner." A porch screen creaked. A dog barked twice. Brent did not take the map. "This parcel has been treated as part of the Maple Ridge approach for years." "Treatment isn't title," Linda snapped. "Do not lecture us from the roadside." Marcus lowered the map. "Then show me the recorded covenant." The words landed plain. The sprinkler clicked, clicked, clicked. Maya whispered, "Dad, I'm here." Linda's smile returned. "We maintained standards because families here invested their life savings." "So did I," Marcus said. A small sound moved through the porches. Brent reached for Linda's elbow. "Let's review before—" "No." She pulled away. "If we let this stand, tomorrow there will be junk cars, renters, loose animals." She pointed at the box. "This is how it starts." Maya looked down at the books, their covers dimmed by road dust. One was the bird guide her mother had read to her in the hospital. She turned the dusty side toward the wall. Marcus saw it. His jaw moved once, then stilled. "Call whoever you need," he said, folding the map. "My daughter and I are carrying our things inside." Linda stepped in front of him. "If you cross that threshold, I will consider it willful defiance." Marcus waited until the wind stopped moving the red ribbon. "Write those exact words down." Trevor opened his clipboard. The top page was blank. Maya picked up the box of books. Dust lifted as a county vehicle turned slowly onto the road. The county vehicle slowed by the blue mailbox, then passed on. Maya held the dusty book box against her chest. Were they coming for us? Not this time. Marcus set the box on the porch. Probably checking the culvert. Inside, the house smelled of pine boards and lemon cleaner. Light cut across sleeping bags and the red toolbox labeled Home Fixes. Outside, the mailbox leaned toward the ditch, its blue paint chipped like dry shell. Maya touched it. Flakes stuck to her fingers. Mom said blue meant safe. Marcus studied the crooked door. She was usually right. He opened a folder on the truck hood. Deed. Parcel map. Survey printout. His thumb followed the line between their land and Maple Ridge Estates. Then he checked each red stake. Across the road, an older woman lowered her pruning shears. "You with the repair crew?" "No, ma'am. We moved in." Eleanor Brooks was gray-braided, in a sun hat with a broken ribbon. Her husband, Jonah, watched from behind a half-open gate, mug in both hands. "Oh," Eleanor said. "I thought that place was empty." It was. Jonah eyed Marcus's jacket. "HOA, no? They know someone is here." "That's not what I asked." "Jonah," Eleanor said. Maya scraped blue paint from her thumb. Marcus closed the folder. "We're not changing Maple Ridge." Eleanor looked at the porch. That house has needed somebody a long time. A delivery van squealed to a stop. The driver jumped down with 2 boxes. "Reed." "That's us," Maya said. Marcus signed. One box held bedding, the other a lamp. Warm cardboard dusted his palms. Linda Merrick's white SUV rolled back into view. Her window slid down while the engine hummed. "Mr. Reed, deliveries require gate clearance." The driver blinked. "It's bedding." "All vendors check in with Maple Ridge Security." Marcus handed the scanner back. "He is on a county road, delivering to a private parcel." "That is your interpretation." "It's the recorded map." Linda's gaze landed on the folder. Then she smiled toward the porches. "This community has expectations." Maya moved behind Marcus. "So do we," he said. Eleanor called from the gate. "Linda, maybe let them unload." Linda did not look at her. "Please don't involve yourself in enforcement." Jonah stared into his mug. Marcus picked up a screw. "Maya, toolbox." She brought the red box. He fit the screw into the mailbox hinge while the SUV idled. Metal clicked under the screwdriver. The door finally closed square. Maya smiled at the sound. "You're making exterior improvements without review," Linda said. "I'm keeping the mail out of the ditch." "That still falls under appearance." Marcus put the screwdriver in Maya's palm. "Then write that down too." Linda's phone chimed. She glanced at the blue paint on Maya's fingers. "The board meets tonight." "I hope they read the map." She drove off, dust curling behind her tires. When the road settled, Eleanor crossed with iced tea. She stopped at the gravel's edge as though a line might sting. "For the heat," she said. Marcus accepted it. Cold glass wet his palm. Eleanor nodded toward the mailbox. "Your girl's right. Blue always did look safe there." Maya opened her fist and pressed one small blue mark onto the newest box before carrying it inside. At 6:18, the clubhouse windows glowed against dark lawns. Marcus had come for mailbox numbers left in the community kiosk by mistake. The metal door hung open, the numbers taped to a welcome notice in blue ink. Maya stood beside him with a grocery bag on her wrist. "Are we allowed to be here?" "We can pick up our mail." A woman's voice carried through the cracked side door. "That property is the first thing visitors see." Linda Merrick. Marcus loosened the tape. The air smelled of fertilizer and burnt coffee. A projector hummed beyond the door. Brent Ashford said, "If he establishes occupancy, enforcement becomes messier." A chair leg dragged. "Isn't the old Reed parcel outside the filed boundary?" Denise Patel asked. The room went still. Linda answered with a sharp metal click, a folder closing over paper. "Boundaries can be interpreted through common use access." Maya whispered, "Dad, they're talking about us." "I know. Should we go in?" "Not yet." Carla Wynn's voice rose. "I don't want to fight. I just don't want that truck at the entrance all summer." "He's a father with a child," Denise said. Linda laughed softly. "That is how standards disappear. You let one emotional case bend the rules, and soon everyone has a story." Marcus felt Maya's bag brush his knee. It held milk and strawberries because the house needed something red. Brent said, "I can draft a notice tonight. No admission that he is outside jurisdiction." "Firm language," Linda said. Denise tried again. "But if the deed says—" The folder clicked shut again. "Denise," Linda said, "I did not spend 8 years keeping this neighborhood stable so a contractor could turn the entrance into a storage yard." Maya looked at Marcus's sleeve. The kiosk light buzzed. A moth hit the plastic cover again and again. Marcus lifted the bag from Maya's wrist. "Let's go home." At the edge of the lot, Eleanor Brooks stood with newspapers pressed to her chest. "They shouldn't talk like that," she said. Marcus unlocked the truck. "People talk differently when they think the door is closed." It wasn't closed. Jonah waited by their gate. "Ellie." She ignored him. "Mr. Reed, do you have your survey?" "Yes." "Keep it close. That house was separate before Maple Ridge had a gate." Maya climbed into the truck. "Separate means ours, right?" Marcus closed her door. "It means the paper has to say what people don't want to hear." Linda came out with Brent, Carla, and Trevor. "Mr. Reed, convenient timing." "I was picking up mailbox numbers." "From our kiosk?" "The mail carrier left them there." Brent stepped from the curb. "This creates confusion." Marcus opened his palm. "Numbers." Linda glanced toward Maya. "Children learn from how adults behave around rules." Marcus's hand closed around the packet. "They do." Trevor opened his clipboard. "The board will issue guidance by morning." "Put the boundary map with it," Marcus said. Linda's cheeks tightened. "We are not taking instructions from you." "No," Marcus said. "You're taking responsibility." As he backed onto the gravel, Denise's folder slipped open. A yellowed page slid free, and Marcus caught the words before the wind folded it back. "Reed property excluded from obligations." The yellow notice slapped against the old front door at 7:06 a.m., one corner lifting and falling in the wind. Maya saw it first, crossing the kitchen with 2 cereal bowls. "Dad." Marcus came from the sink, sleeves damp, the house smelling of toast and raw pine. "Stay inside. I can read it from here." "Then don't let it read you back." Trevor Pike stood on the porch step with his clipboard open. Linda Merrick waited on the walkway. Brent Ashford sat in his sedan with the window cracked. Trevor cleared his throat. "Notice of violation. unapproved occupation, vehicle placement, lawn condition, mailbox alteration, paint inconsistency, and failure to submit residency approval. The yellow paper shivered, stuck flat, then shivered again. Residency approval, Marcus said. For the good of the community, Linda answered. This house is not in your community. It is visually connected to it. That is not a boundary. The porch board squeaked under Trevor's shoe. Linda raised her voice. Continued noncompliance may result in fines, towing, access restrictions, and legal action. Maya appeared behind the screen with one bowl in her hand. Marcus unfolded the deed from the porch chair. Trevor, read the parcel number on your notice. Trevor looked at Linda. Read it. He glanced down. Maple Ridge Estates adjacent approach parcel. That isn't a parcel number. Brent got out of the sedan. Maps can require interpretation. They require reading. Marcus placed the county map beside the deed on the rail. This red line is the HOA boundary. My door is here. Across the road, Eleanor Brooks stood in a robe, one hand on her gate. Linda saw her. This is private enforcement. You made it public when you read it from my porch. Trevor held out a pen. Sign acknowledgement. I won't sign something false. Linda stepped closer. Her perfume cut through wet grass and coffee. Cooperate first, and we can discuss boundaries later. Marcus folded the deed. Boundaries come first. Brent lowered his voice. Litigation is expensive, Mr. Reed, not something a child needs. The screen door moved. Maya's shoes scraped the floor. Marcus looked at him. Don't use my daughter as leverage. Brent's mouth closed. Linda pressed the loose corner of the notice harder against the door. 24 hours to correct violations. 48 for documentation. After that, the board escalates. Send every document by mail and email. We do not follow instructions from residents who have not been approved. You will if you want a record. Trevor wrote fast. Marcus lifted the notice. A strip of old paint came away with it, blue-white flakes falling onto the porch like salt. Maya stepped outside, holding a clean towel. Without a word, she wiped the sticky mark from the wood. Eleanor crossed to the edge of the gravel. Linda, that house was never on our dues list. Return to your property, Eleanor. It is my property. Jonah called, Ellie. But she stayed where the gravel changed color. Marcus handed Trevor a copy of the map. Attach this to your report. Trevor hesitated, then took it. Linda's sunglasses slid from her hair into her hand. You just made this formal. Marcus looked at the yellow paper, trembling in his fingers. No, he said. You did. The bus stop sign rattled at 7:34 a.m., its metal pole ticking against gravel. Maya stood under it with both hands wrapped around one backpack strap. The nylon squeaked each time her fingers tightened. Marcus held a travel mug and the county map. Parents waited across the road beneath trimmed crepe myrtles. No one stepped closer. Maya whispered, Are they mad because of the paper on the door? Some people get loud when paper stops obeying them. The yellow bus came around the curve, brakes sighing. Ruth Bell leaned toward the open door. Morning, baby. You riding with us? Before Maya could answer, Linda Merrick crossed from the sidewalk. Ruth, hold on. That child is not assigned to this stop. Ruth frowned. She's on my route sheet. She is not a Maple Ridge resident. Marcus folded the map once. She lives at 119 Old Quarry Road. This stop is maintained for our families. The bus engine pushed diesel into the cold air. Children pressed faces to the windows. Maya's strap made that strained sound again. Marisol Vega, a mother in running clothes, stood near the curb with two boys. She opened her mouth, then looked at the other parents. Nobody moved. Ruth tapped the wheel. Dispatch tells me where to stop. And I am telling you, Maple Ridge cannot assume liability. That sounds like paperwork above my seat. It becomes your problem if there is an incident. Marcus stepped between Linda and the bus door. The county placed the stop here. Linda turned her smile toward the parents. This is exactly the confusion the board warned about. Maya's chin lowered. Marcus bent slightly. We can walk to the next one. But this one is here. I know. She's making me smaller. The words were barely louder than the engine. Marcus's hand froze on the map. Ruth's face changed. Maya, honey, you can board my bus. Linda lifted her phone. I will report this. Report me spelling her name right, Ruth said. Marcus looked at Maya. Your choice. She stared at the wet black steps. Then a parent muttered, We don't need trouble every morning. Marisol flinched. Maya shook her head. Can we walk? Marcus nodded. We can walk. He took the backpack for the first 100 feet. Gravel crunched under their shoes. When the bus passed, Ruth raised 2 fingers from the wheel. At the next stop, no sign marked the dirt shoulder. Maya climbed on without speaking. Marcus watched the bus disappear. The morning smelled of diesel and wet leaves. Behind him, Marisol had followed. She stopped with her arms folded over her phone. I'm sorry, she said. For what? For standing there. He waited. My husband says don't get involved with Linda. Fines, pool access, all that little power. She used my child. I know. Her fingers tightened around her phone. I should have said something. You can still decide what kind of morning this was. Marisol glanced at the faded boundary marker near the ditch. Is that the line? Yes. It's not where she said. No. She took one photo of the marker, then another of the bus stop sign rattling in the wind. At home, Marcus set Maya's untouched cereal bowl in the sink. The milk had gone warm. His phone buzzed with an HOA email. Temporary safety guidance. The subject line glowed on Marcus's phone. Temporary safety guidance. He dried his hands before opening it. The unsigned message told residents to avoid unapproved access areas pending board review. Maya's bus stop was not named. Neither was his road. At 6:55 p.m., the clubhouse smelled of floor polish, burnt coffee, and wet coats. Marcus sat in the last row with his cap in his lap. Maya was with Eleanor. Marisol Vega slid into the chair 2 seats away. I didn't know you were coming. I got the email. That wasn't an invitation. Marcus looked at the screen. His truck filled it, boxes stacked like evidence. Then I'll listen. Linda Merrick stood by the table. Maple Ridge protects families by stopping disorder early. Brent clicked the remote. The blue mailbox appeared. A few people chuckled. Not loudly. Enough. Marisol's phone lit in her palm beneath the table. She turned it toward her knee and tapped record. Patrick Doyle, 55, a retired contractor with sawdust in his cuffs, raised a hand. Is Old Quarry actually ours? Linda did not turn. It affects us. That's not what I asked. Brent leaned in. The approach corridor is functionally connected. Denise Patel opened a worn binder. Its rings squealed. The 2009 minutes say the Reed property was excluded from assessment and obligations. A paper cup bent in Carla Wynn's hand. Linda smiled. Old minutes do not override safety concerns. Vivian Cho, 62, garden chair in a rainbonnet, murmured, That may be why we never billed that address. Trevor stood by the wall. We documented exterior issues. Patrick turned. Did anybody inspect inside? Linda answered first. The resident refused review. Marcus said, No one asked to enter. Three heads turned away at once. "Mr. Reed," Linda said, "this meeting is for members. You sent me the guidance. To notify you. Then I'm notified." Marisol's thumb covered the glowing screen. Light leaked between her fingers. Brent shuffled papers. The board may consider temporary access limits until ownership and compliance questions are resolved. Eleanor stepped from the back wall. "You mean block his road?" "Temporarily." "It's a county easement," Marcus said. "Unverified," Linda said. Denise lifted the binder. "The plat attachment is referenced here. It should be in archives." "We are not going on a scavenger hunt." Vivian untied her bonnet strings. "A child walked to another stop this morning." Carla whispered, "Linda, maybe postpone the vote." "And reward defiance?" Linda clicked again. Maya's backpack appeared beside the bus stop, cropped from a distance. Marcus rose so slowly, the chair barely scraped. "Take that down." It was taken in a public area. "She is 9. Brent reached for the laptop. "Linda." Marcus only held out his hand. "Take it down." The screen went blue. Rain ticked on the roof. Marisol lowered her phone, recording. Denise slid a yellowed packet from the binder and stared at one line until her lips parted. Linda gathered her folder. "Emergency board session tomorrow. Mr. Reed will receive written requirements." Marcus reached the door, but Denise caught his sleeve. "Mr. Reed," she whispered, "there's a page missing from the archive copy." Rain began before sunrise, tapping the kitchen window in thin lines. Marcus stood at the counter with Denise's note beside his coffee. One page missing from the archive copy. Maya came in wearing one sock. "Is school canceled?" "No." "Is Linda canceled?" A hard knock cut through the rain. Marcus opened the door to Linda Merrick, Trevor Pike, and Brent Ashford under one black umbrella. Trevor held a laminated sheet. "Mr. Reed," Brent said, "the board has issued a deadline." Linda stepped forward. 24 hours. "For what?" "Remove the truck. Cease renovations. Take down the mailbox. Submit proof of residency. Vacate pending review." Maya whispered from the hall. "Vacate means leave." "It means adults follow process," Linda said. Marcus switched on the porch light. "Put it in writing." Trevor lifted the sheet. Rain hit it with soft ticks. "No, that's a warning you can wipe dry." Brent's jaw tightened. "You are making this harder than necessary. You're on my porch at breakfast." Linda's perfume cut through wet leaves. "You are forcing this community to protect itself." Behind Marcus, Maya's sock dropped to the floor. At 10:12, a county code truck rolled up. Amelia Hart, a young clerk in a yellow raincoat, stepped out holding a red placard. "Mr. Reed, we received a dangerous occupancy complaint." Marcus took the sleeve. The red stamp showed through the rain on the window like a warning pressed from the other side. "Stop work / temporary review." Maya read from behind his elbow. "Does it mean we can't sleep here?" "It means someone filed a safety concern. I have to post it until inspection." "Did you inspect?" "I'm not authorized." "Who signed it?" Amelia glanced toward Linda's SUV. "I can't disclose that." "Post it," Marcus said. The tape tore loud in the porch air. Amelia pressed the red paper beside Maya's bird drawing. "I'm sorry," Amelia said. Maya did not answer. By noon, Marcus had shut off the noisy heater. The house cooled around them. Maya sat on a moving box. The placard glowed red through every raindrop. "Dad, do we have to move again?" His hand stopped over his phone. Again carried the motel after the hospital, the laundromat apartment, Aunt Renee's sofa, the night Maya asked if a toothbrush could have a home. "No." "But what if paper says yes?" "Then we answer with better paper," His thumb found Helen Sloane's county number. One call could make people straighten their backs. Maya watched him. Marcus turned the phone screen down. "Why didn't you call?" "Because if I start there, they'll say the rules only changed because I knew someone." Maya rubbed her mother's letter. "Mom would call. Your mother would make tea first. She would make bad tea. The worst." Maya gave one breath of a laugh, then lost it. Marcus opened the letter. Her mother's handwriting curved across the page. "Give her a door no one can take away." At 4:40, Denise called. They found the missing page. Brent checked it out last year. Marcus looked at the red stamp bleeding down the glass. "Do you have a copy?" "No, but June at the HOA office remembers the logbook." Marcus watched Maya trace her mother's last sentence. "Tomorrow morning," he said, "we ask for a hearing in writing." At 8:03 a.m., Marcus slid the last copy into a clear folder and pressed the red placard flat with 2 fingers. Maya stood by the door in her raincoat, her mother's letter inside a plastic sleeve. The inked name, Maya Reed, faced outward. "You don't have to come," Marcus said. "I want them to read it." He looked at the red stamp on the window. "We ask. We don't beg." The HOA office sat beside the clubhouse pool, all glass and stone. Rain ran from the roof in silver ropes. Inside, the air smelled of toner and lavender. June Wallace, 61, sat behind the desk with silver curls pinned tight and glasses on a chain. "Mr. Reed?" "I need to submit a written request for a formal hearing." June glanced toward the conference door. "They're in there." "I can wait." Maya placed the sleeve on the counter. "This is from my mom." "For the board?" "For the house," Maya said. Before June answered, Linda Merrick opened the door. Brent stood behind her with a paper cup. Trevor came out last, blocking the hall. Linda's eyes went to the folder. "This is not a walk-in matter." Marcus held it out. "Hearing request, deed, parcel map, easement reference, and response to the complaint." Brent stepped forward. "Send that through council." "I'm not required to." Trevor looked at Maya. "Children shouldn't be in enforcement discussions." Marcus set the folder on the counter. "Then don't make her home one." June reached for it. Linda placed 2 fingers on top. "I will decide what is accepted." June's hand stopped. "Date stamp it," Marcus said. "Once reviewed." "Date stamp receipt." Brent rubbed his forehead. "Linda, just stamp the receipt." She lifted the sleeve with the letter and laid it aside. "Personal material is irrelevant." Maya whispered. She didn't even look. The lobby went quiet, except for rain against the glass. Marcus turned the sleeve so Maya's name faced up. "It explains why the property matters. It does not explain violations." Trevor opened the front door. Cold rain blew across the tile. "Mr. Reed, wait outside until the board determines next steps." June said, "There are chairs right here." "June," Linda warned. Marcus picked up the folder but left the request on the counter. "Stamp that page." "No." A man renewing a pool card stared at his shoes. A woman with a tennis bag stepped back. Maya's sleeve slipped from her fingers. The plastic skidded near the threshold. Rain touched one corner before Marcus reached it. Blue ink feathered across her name. For 1 second, nobody moved. Then June bent down. "Don't," Linda said. June picked it up anyway and handed it to Maya. "I'm sorry, sweetheart." Maya clutched the damp sleeve to her chest. Marcus's voice stayed low. "Record that the board refused written notice." Brent said, "That is not what happened." Marcus looked at the witnesses one by one. No one corrected him. Outside, water ran down his folder and under his cuff. Trevor stood beneath the awning, leaving them in the rain. "You have 24 hours," Trevor said. Marcus opened the truck door for Maya. She placed the letter flat on her lap, palms over the blurred name. Behind the glass, June stamped a blank receipt and slid it under a brochure rack where Linda could not see. At 5:12 p.m., the rain stopped hard, as if someone had turned a handle. Marcus was blotting Maya's letter with paper towels when a knock came at the side door. The blue ink had spread at the edge of her name, but the first 3 letters held. Eleanor Brooks stood outside with a covered dish. "I made too much." Marcus looked past her to the road. "You didn't walk over here for supper." "No, bring the girl. Jonah found something." Maya slid the letter into its sleeve. "Is it about our house?" "It might be about everybody pretending it isn't yours," Eleanor said. Inside the Brooks home, warm air smelled of onions, old wood, and lemon oil. Jonah had cleared a table beneath a framed map that filled half the wall. "Builder gave these to the first buyers," Jonah said. "Should have remembered sooner." Marcus set Maya's damp letter beside his folder. "May I?" Eleanor handed him a dish towel. "Careful, that glass is older than Linda's title." They laid the frame on the dining table. Under the glass, a dusty boundary line ran between Maple Ridge Estates and Old Quarry Road. Outside, gutters tapped in slow drops. Maya pointed. "That red string in our grass." "Survey ribbon," Marcus said. "It matches." Eleanor shined a flashlight across the map. Dust along the line glowed like a thin scar. Old Quarry Road, county easement, Reed parcel, excluded. Marcus took 2 photos. "Date?" "April 2009, Jonah said. "Before the gate." Maya touched the glass. "So she knew." Marcus covered her hand. "We know the map knew." The doorbell rang. Marisol Vega came in wearing a rain jacket, phone held like something fragile. "I shouldn't be here," she said. "Then sit before you change your mind," Eleanor told her. Marisol faced Marcus. "I recorded the meeting. The sound is clear." Linda's voice filled the room. "The board may consider temporary access limits." Then Brent, lower. "If he doesn't know procedure, we can press the timeline." Maya looked up at Marcus. Marisol stopped the recording. "I'm sorry about the bus stop. And the picture." Marcus looked at the phone. "Did anyone object?" "Vivian, Eleanor." Her throat moved. "Not me." The refrigerator hummed. A spoon clicked against Jonah's saucer. Maya lifted the damp sleeve. "June picked up my letter. You saw?" "Yes," Marisol said. "You didn't say anything?" "No." Marisol's eyes stayed on the ink. "I didn't." Eleanor pulled out a chair. "Now she is." Marcus folded the new photos into his folder. "Send the recording to yourself first, then to me. Keep the originals." "You sound like you've done this before." "I've learned not to let paper stand alone." Jonah returned with a narrow envelope. "Warranty deed supplement. Builder mailed us copies by mistake. I kept everything." He handed it to Marcus. "Never trusted clean drawers." The envelope rasped open. Inside was an easement agreement, county seal faint but visible. At the bottom, a handwritten note read, "Not subject to Maple Ridge covenants." Maya leaned against Marcus's arm. He placed her damp letter on top of the map photo, then the easement copy over both, as if the papers needed to hold one another down. Marisol's email chimed outgoing. At the same moment, Marcus's screen lit with an unknown county number. The unknown number rang twice before Marcus answered. "Mr. Reed? Helen Sloan, County Planning Director. I was forwarded a stop work complaint for Old Quarry Road." Marcus stepped away from the Brooks dining table. Maya watched over the framed map. Marisol's phone lay beside the easement copy. "The notice uses an incomplete parcel description," Helen said, And I recognize your name from state compliance training materials, Counselor Reed. This is my home, Marcus said. I'm asking for a record, not a favor. Then send your statement tonight. A surveyor will be there in the morning. Include school access. Already noted. At 8:41 next morning, a county truck rolled up behind a white survey van. The road smelled of rain and wet gravel. Trevor Pike stood by the blue mailbox with his clipboard pressed to his chest. Linda Merrick arrived next. What is this? Miguel Aranda planted a tripod near the ditch. Boundary confirmation. Trevor leaned toward Marcus. You called them? I answered them. Helen stepped from the truck. Linda blocked her path. Maple Ridge has active enforcement concerns. This resident submitted documents, Helen said. He submitted opinions. Miguel looked through the instrument. Recorded plats are not opinions. The red survey ribbon snapped in the wind. Maya stood on the porch beside her mother's damp letter. Trevor's phone buzzed. Why did the county email call you counsel? Linda turned sharply. What? Helen said, We are not here to discuss Mr. Reed's resume. Brent pulled in with his tie crooked. Linda, slow down. We understand jurisdiction. Miguel planted one orange flag. County easement runs here. HOA boundary is east of that. Marisol crossed with her phone visible. Linda's voice thinned. That cannot be right. It is recorded, Helen said. Marcus opened his folder. I'm requesting a written determination, a hearing on every notice, and correction of any message affecting my daughter's bus access. Helen turned to Trevor. Were residents told to avoid this stop or road? Temporary guidance. By whom? The board. For safety, Linda said. Helen's pen stopped. A 9-year-old was redirected from a county stop. The road went quiet, except for the soft flap of plastic near the mailbox. Marcus said, Please write exactly what happened. No adjectives. Brent stared at him. You've done hearings. I've sat in rooms where paper decided whether families slept in cars. Helen walked to the front window. The red placard glowed behind the glass. Amelia Hart stepped from the county truck with a scraper. This notice is suspended pending correction, Helen said. Linda stepped forward. You can't undo a filed complaint. I can correct an improper notice. Amelia slid the scraper under the plastic seal. It stuck for one hard second. Then it tore loose with a dry, sharp sound. Maya flinched, but did not step back. Red water ran down the glass. Marisol kept recording. Helen handed Marcus the curled notice. Review date will follow. Linda's voice dropped. This is far from over. Marcus looked at the empty square on the window. No, he said. Now it has a record. Helen turned toward the HOA board with a county envelope already addressed. The county envelope rode on the passenger seat to Cedar Hollow Civic Annex. Marcus parked at 8:52 a.m. Maya did not unbuckle. The glass doors reflected a gray sky. Do I have to talk? She asked. No. They may talk around you. He lifted the plastic sleeve. That is different. The hearing room smelled of coffee and cold paper. Samuel Ortiz, 31, pen behind one ear, checked names. Marcus Reed? Yes. Chair near the aisle if she needs it. Grace Whitman entered at 9 sharp, 57 narrow glasses, gray jacket. Review of Maple Ridge enforcement on Old Quarry Road. Documents first. Linda sat across the table with Brent. Trevor kept his clipboard on his knees. Linda began at once. Maple Ridge acted to protect residents. Grace did not look up. You will have time. This man created confusion. Grace's pen stopped. Documents first. Marcus placed the deed down, then the plat map. Last came the letter. He smoothed the wrinkled sleeve with 2 fingers, careful around the blurred blue ink of Maya's name. Only after it lay flat did he set the county map beside it. Maya watched his hand. Grace read, "Owner of record, Marcus Elijah Reed." Brent shifted. "Ownership is not the issue." "Jurisdiction is," Marcus said. Grace turned to him. "State your background." Trevor's pen hovered. "Former state housing compliance investigator, licensed land use attorney, currently inactive in private practice." Linda let out a hard breath. "You never disclosed that. You never asked who owned the land." Grace said, "Continue." Marcus handed Samuel a timeline. "Demand to leave. Notice without parcel number. Bus stop interference. Display of my child's belongings. Refusal to stamp a request. Occupancy complaint and stop work placard." Samuel stamped each copy. The sound landed final. Linda leaned forward. "He is turning enforcement into a performance." Grace raised 1 finger. "Respond to the exhibit." The board had safety concerns. "Which exhibit?" Marcus slid Marisol's transcript forward. Brent's line sat in black type. "If he doesn't know procedure, we can press the timeline." Brent cleared his throat. "Taken out of context." "Provide the context." Rain tapped the windows. Trevor's clipboard slipped. "The board was under pressure from residents," Brent said. "Which residents?" Carla stared into her purse. Grace looked at Trevor. "Did you verify the boundary before notices?" "I relied on board direction." "Did you verify it?" "No." Maya's shoe stopped swinging. Marcus touched the letter once. "Remove the notices, restore school access, preserve records, and prevent further contact with my daughter." Linda's face tightened. "You brought a child for sympathy." Maya flinched. Grace's voice cooled. "Mrs. Merrick, answer the documents or wait outside." Linda sat back. Samuel collected the exhibits. When he reached the letter, Marcus held it 1 second longer. The plastic was cold under his thumb. Grace looked over her glasses. "This hearing will continue with archived minutes and missing attachments. Until then, Maple Ridge will suspend enforcement beyond recorded boundaries." Marcus nodded. Behind Linda, Denise stood in the doorway, holding a yellowed binder against her chest. Denise Patel did not sit when Grace Whitman asked her name. She stood in the doorway with the yellowed binder against her chest. Denise Patel, former secretary, current board member. Linda's chair struck the table. "Denise, this is not the time." Grace looked up. "It appears to be exactly the time." Denise walked to Samuel Ortiz's desk. The binder rings had been taped twice. When she opened them, metal squealed. "I found the 2009 minutes," she said, "and the checkout log." Brent's hand moved toward his tie. Marcus watched from his aisle chair, Maya's letter under his folder. Samuel stamped the first page. "Exhibit 12. Linda leaned forward. "Historical notes are not controlling documents." Denise turned 1 page. "Brent's signature is on the review. June signed the release last year." Grace took the log. "Mr. Ashford, did you check out the Reed parcel attachment?" "Boards ask counsel to review many things," Brent said. "Did you return it?" "I don't recall." A paper cup clicked against a saucer. Denise lifted the next packet. A rusted paperclip snapped. The stack of minutes slid from her hands and hit the table edge, spilling across the floor. Silver clips skittered under Linda's chair. Maya bent to pick one up. Marcus touched her shoulder. "Leave it." Trevor Pike stood, then froze. 1 page lay near his shoe. In the margin, underlined in blue, were the words, "Reed property excluded from Maple Ridge covenants and assessments." Samuel picked it up with both hands. Grace passed it to Walter Kim. a square-shouldered insurance consultant with rimless glasses. Walter tapped his pen once. This changes exposure. Linda's voice sharpened. Insurance is not the issue. It is when a board enforces beyond authority after notice. Marcus looked at Brent. You called it excluded last year. Brent did not answer. Grace turned to Trevor. Your reports cite homeowner obligation. Where did that language come from? Trevor's fingers dented the clipboard. From the template. Who gave you the template? He looked at Linda. She stared at the seal. Mrs. Merrick. Did you verify the boundary? No. And the stop work complaint? I delivered photographs and wording. The complaint was filed through the public form. By whom? His eyes went to Brent. Brent whispered, Careful. That single word carried farther than a shout. Grace made a note. The record will reflect that warning. Maya slid closer to Marcus. The paperclip near her shoe trembled when the vent kicked on. Denise placed the final page on the table. I should have said this at the meeting. I saw the line. I let Linda close the folder. Linda's mouth went pale. You are embarrassing this board. No, Denise said. I'm done protecting it. Walter adjusted his glasses. Preserve all communications, notices, photographs, drafts, and private messages related to Old Quarry Road. Grace nodded. So ordered. One clip stuck to Brent's sleeve. He brushed it off, and it fell beside Maya's chair. Marcus picked it up and set it on top of the minutes. Grace looked at him. Mr. Reed, anything further? He placed Maya's blurred letter beside the underlined page. Just that both papers stay in the file. Samuel stamped them together. Samuel's stamp had barely dried when Grace Whitman called the next name. Marisol Vega. The mother in running shoes rose, phone in both hands. The room smelled of toner and burned coffee. Grace nodded. State what you witnessed. The stand clicked. At the bus stop, Mrs. Merrick told the driver Maya could not board because she was not a Maple Ridge resident. Linda said, That is not the full context. You will wait, Grace said. Ruth Bell raised a hand. My route sheet had the child's name. Marisol looked at Maya. I stood there. My boys stood there. I knew it was wrong. Marcus set his palm near Maya. I didn't speak because I was afraid of fines and losing pool access, Marisol said. That sounds small now. It was small then, Grace wrote. Recording? Marisol unlocked her phone. Linda's voice filled the speaker. This is exactly the confusion the board warned about. Entered, Grace said. Eleanor Brooks came next, gray braid over one shoulder. This map hung in our hallway since 2009, Eleanor said. Old Quarry was never ours. Why not raise it earlier? Grace asked. Eleanor's hand tightened on the folder. Because Linda makes decent people feel like trouble is a bill that comes due. I told myself it was not my door. She turned, but it was a child's door too. Samuel placed the photos beside the minutes. The dusty line matched the county plat. June Wallace entered from the hall. Her silver curls were pinned tight, but her mouth shook. She held the stamped receipt from under the brochure rack. Linda said, June works for the association. Walter Kim shook his head once. June stepped up to it. The microphone trembled until the stem tapped the stand. My name is June Wallace. I received Mr. Reed's request. I was told not to stamp it. Brent leaned forward. By whom? June looked at him. By Mrs. Merrick. She lifted the damp sleeve. The girl dropped this by the door. Rain got on it. I picked it up after I was told not to. She looked at Maya. I should have been faster. Maya whispered, It still says my name. June held the microphone tighter. Yes, honey. Maya. That word cracked. Trevor looked down at his clipboard. Grace waited. The receipt? June set it on Samuel's desk. Stamped at 8:14 a.m. I hid it because I feared losing my job. Patrick Doyle rose. I saw the backpack photo. I laughed. Not loud, but I did. Carla Wynne wiped her eye. I asked Linda to postpone the vote, then let her keep going. Vivian Cho said, that guidance email made us guards of land we had no right to guard. Linda pushed back. This is becoming a parade. Marcus finally spoke. It is becoming a record. Grace asked, requested remedy? Marcus glanced at Maya. No contact with my child. Written correction to every resident. Training before enforcement. Outside review. Return of any fees collected beyond the boundary. Brent exhaled. And no child's image, route, or belongings used in enforcement again. Grace wrote each line. Outside, a school bus passed on the gray, wet street. Maya did not turn. She watched Samuel place June's receipt beside her letter, and for the first time that morning, no one moved it away. Grace Whitman's order came at 4:27 p.m., printed while the hearing room still held the heat of too many bodies. Samuel carried the pages to the table. Interim findings and corrective actions. Linda did not reach for her copy. Brent did, then stopped when Walter Kim leaned closer. Grace read aloud. Maple Ridge Estates shall cease enforcement beyond recorded covenant boundaries, including Old Quarry Road and the county easement. Marcus sat with Maya's letter beneath his hand. All notices to Mr. Reed are withdrawn. The association will send written correction to every resident before 6 p.m. tomorrow. Carla whispered. Every resident? Every, Grace said. Linda's chair creaked. This will damage confidence. Eleanor spoke from the second row. Good. No one laughed. Helen Sloan entered with Rachel Boone, a county mediator in a navy coat. Rachel carried boundary markers and a folder marked Oversight. We monitor compliance for 6 months, Rachel said. Training, new notices, outside property complaints, and photo restrictions. Trevor looked up. Photo restrictions. No child, route, mailbox, or home detail may be used unless jurisdiction is verified. Maya's fingers stopped moving on the sleeve. Marcus asked, School access? Helen placed a page on the table. The stop remains county designated. Maple Ridge will not interfere. Ruth Bell gave one nod. Outside, rain had thinned to mist. A county crew waited by Old Quarry Road. Miguel Aranda knelt beside the ditch, measuring from the red survey ribbon. Right here, he said. The new metal marker caught the late sun. It flashed where Linda had stood blocking the road. Maya shaded her eyes. It's shiny. It should be visible, Miguel said. That's the point. Linda's SUV slowed at the Maple Ridge gate, but did not turn in. For the first time, she stayed inside the line. Rachel handed Marcus a draft complaint form. Jurisdiction check first, neighbor notice second, hearing third, no doorstep theater. Marcus read it, then crossed out one sentence. Rachel blinked. That was standard language. Standard language caused this. What would you use? If jurisdiction is disputed, enforcement pauses until verified. Helen looked at Rachel. Add it. Maya ran to the blue mailbox with a small wooden bird she had painted at Eleanor's kitchen table. Can I hang it? Marcus took the tiny screw from her palm. Show me where. By the flag, so Mom can find us. The screw squeaked into wood. Eleanor stood on her porch with Jonah beside her. Marisol held her boys back from the road, phone at her side instead of hidden. Trevor approached slowly. His clipboard was gone. Mr. Reed. Marcus turned. I followed bad instructions. Yes, I'm sorry. Marcus waited while gravel settled under Trevor's shoes. Put the new instructions in writing before you trust them. Trevor nodded once. At 6, phones chimed across Maple Ridge. The correction email had gone out. Porch lights came on one by one. Maya stepped back from the mailbox. The little bird swung in the breeze beside the restored blue door. Marcus looked down the road at the metal marker reflecting the last strip of sun. This time, no one crossed it. 3 months later, the blue mailbox opened without scraping. Maya stood on tiptoe, backpack bouncing against the porch rail, while the little wooden bird swung beside the flag. "Bus in 4 minutes," Marcus called. "I know." She sorted envelopes. County, school, Eleanor. One with no return address. Table. She paused at the framed letter beside the key hook. Her mother's writing caught pale light. "Give her a door no one can take away." The bus sighed at the end of Old Quarry Road. Ruth Bell opened the door before Maya reached the sign. "Morning, Miss Reed." Maya climbed 2 steps, then turned. "Dad?" Marcus lifted a hand. She pointed at the marker near the ditch. "Still there." "Still there." The doors folded shut. Across the road, Marisol's boys waved. Their mother kept her phone pocketed. At Maple Ridge, porch lights clicked off one by one. People had learned a new habit. They looked toward Marcus before they looked away. At 9, Rachel Boone arrived with her oversight folder. Trevor Pike came with her. No clipboard, only a tablet and checklist. "Quarterly compliance review," Rachel said. Marcus stepped aside. "Kitchen table?" Trevor wiped his shoes twice. "The form requires parcel verification before contact." "Show me." He turned the page. Jurisdiction disputed. Enforcement paused until verified. Marcus read it. "Good." Trevor's mouth tightened. "I say it in every training." "Keep saying it." Outside, Denise Patel helped Eleanor tape a notice to the clubhouse door. New board election. Open record session. Public comment before vote. No private photo collection. Linda Merrick's name did not appear. She had resigned 2 weeks after the order, leaving a letter about service, pressure, and misunderstood intentions. No one read it aloud. Brent Ashford entered professional review and lost his counsel role pending findings. Walter Kim's report required refunds to 3 outside property owners. Justice did not arrive like thunder. It came as corrected addresses, revised forms, posted minutes, and one gate attendant saying, "I need to check the map first." At noon, June Wallace came to the house carrying a small paper bag. "I found the original receipt log," she said. Marcus opened the door wider. June set the bag on the table. Inside lay a new date stamp, still wrapped. "The board bought 3. One stays at the front desk. No one hides receipt anymore." Maya touched the bag. "Does it make the loud sound?" June smiled. "Want to try?" Maya stamped a blank page. The sound cracked clean through the kitchen. Eleanor laughed from the porch. "That'll wake the county." Marcus looked at June. "Thank you." She shook her head. "I should have done it sooner." He did not rescue her from the sentence. He only turned a mug handle toward her. "Tea?" The afternoon warmed the floorboards. Maya opened the no-return envelope at the window. Inside was a photograph of the house before Maple Ridge had gates, the blue mailbox bright even then. On the back, in Jonah's shaky writing, some lines were meant to protect, not divide. Maya placed it beneath her mother's framed letter. "Is this our place now?" she asked. Marcus looked through the open door. The easement marker shone beside the gravel. A neighbor walking a dog raised a hand. "It was always our place," he said. Now the paper says it where everyone can hear. If this story stayed with you, please like the video and share it with someone who believes dignity should never depend on where a boundary line is drawn. Comment below. Have you ever seen quiet paperwork protect a family better than loud authority? Subscribe for more emotional justice stories about ordinary people who stand firm when systems forget their purpose. Your support helps us keep telling stories about courage, accountability, second chances, and the kind of truth that changes more than one life. Every comment helps this story reach someone who needs it today. Turn on notifications so you never miss the next story,